家好，又到咗星期四下晝4:15啦。今日咧就同大家拜一個遲年先啦，恭喜發財啦，祝大家新年進步，萬事勝意啊！馬上發財，最緊要身體健康。今日咧我好榮幸咧請到呢一個咧愛爾蘭總商會嘅President 同埋咧佢就係一個黃金嘅專家喎，咁咧就係呢一個 Patrick 啊。咁我而家咧就會大部分咧我哋會用英文嘅，咁我盡量都翻譯啲重點啦嚇。Patrick, very privileged to have you here today. So please say some New Year greetings to our audience and introduce yourself.
恭喜發財 to you as well. That's about the extent of my Chinese, I'm afraid.
That is perfect.
But yeah, Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a great week last week.
Yes, it was awesome.
And yeah, you know, I've got a small little baby at home, 7 months old.
Congratulations.
So it was the first time Chinese New Year for him.
Oh.
And we were stunned by all the neighbors who came by with lychee. So we
wow.
were very happy with that.
Oh yeah, that's the lucky money.
Yes, 100%.
It's got to be the college tuition.
It's going in his bank account for sure, yes.
That's nice. So I know that you came over like a year and a half before, and this time you're gonna tell us not about Ireland, but something even more interesting and more important, because gold is going crazy, and I know you're an expert because you're a CEO about your company.
Yes.
And I'm gonna let you tell us what to do and stuff. And I think gold just went over 5,000 again today.
Yes, it's 5.2. Yeah.
5.2. Wow, I can't believe that. And what is interesting is that normally we talk about global immigration here, and now gold is actually, I think, it will be the gold universal passport. So I would like to ask you, like, in 2001, we can buy it at $270 US. Now it's over 5,000. It's almost like a down payment for a house in some parts of the world.
Correct.
So if we have clients who want to move the whole family to a different place, is money actually safe anymore, or should we actually be investing into gold right now?
Right. Very expensive question, but thanks for having me on. I know it's a very hot topic in the past 12 months to 18 months in particular, gold and silver. The question, should I invest in gold? I always say it like this: don't view physical gold as an investment, view it as an insurance policy. Don't put all your nest eggs in one asset allocation, so don't only have gold, don't only have cash, or don't only have real estate. Do diversify a little bit. But in terms of physical gold, you always should have some of it. And please, when you're acquiring it at, let's say, $500 an ounce, which it was 20 years ago, don't expect it within a year to double or triple. That is very, very, very uncommon. Normally, gold appreciates over the long term, but relatively steady.
Okay.
And what you really get is an insurance policy against political turmoil, against war, against currencies falling apart. I know here in Hong Kong very often, there's a discussion about the peg to the US dollar. Is it maintainable? Is it not maintainable? What happens to my Hong Kong dollars if it breaks? Of course, if you've got physical gold, you don't have to be worried so much about the Hong Kong dollar peg to the US dollar, because you've always got the gold asset to fall back on, and that will translate into any other currency that's around.
Okay, great. So let me just translate a little bit. 咁頭先我就問Patrick 咧，咁其實以前咧我哋成日咧就係即係講投資移民啊，即係用幾多錢美金啊或者歐元啦，咁但係今時今日咧我發現咧，因為currency 啦，即係呢一啲唔同嘅貨幣啊，其實真係都會浮動噶嘛。咁既然係咁嘅，黃金升得咁快嘅話咧，其實我哋係咪應該投資黃金咧？雖然而家已經穿咗$5000啦，咁佢就頭先講咧即係一個好即係好formal嘅一個投資嘅論點啦，就係黃金實金你應該要買啲嘅，咁啊但係咧亦都唔好忘記咧就要分散個風險咁樣啦，係。咁我咧就繼續啦，同you got some friends coming in, your fans, your followers. So we've got a Man, KZ5GS, and Dai Mao B, and So29. They want to say hi to you, Mr.
Hello.
Patrick. Yes.
Thanks for joining.
Right. If you have any questions about
Pop
gold,
them out.
right? You haven't told us. Actually, you're the CEO of your company. It is called Trust Precious Metals Asia.
Right. So we have a family business. It's actually, I have to be completely transparent. It's owned by my wife.
Oh,
so
I like that kind of husband. I really like that.
I'm an employee of my wife.
I like that more.
But we've been in the gold business for over 15 years now. Started back when I lived in Singapore in 2011, 2012.
Okay.
And then when I migrated to Hong Kong, I took it with me, and here it went on steroids.
It started in Singapore.
It started in Singapore, originally with a few Swiss partners.
Okay.
They left along the way, and I maintained the business out here in Hong Kong. My wife owns it, and I do basically the day-to-day running of that company.
I like this kind of man.
It trades in physical gold, physical silver, physical platinum, and physical palladium. And by trading, I mean we sell and we buy. So most of the business traditionally has been people buying from us.
Okay.
But we also, over the past year in particular, because the prices have gone up so much, have seen more and more people coming to us and selling their gold and their silver to us.
Right.
And cashing out.
Lucky husband, happy wife. Yes. I thought they say happy wife.
Happy life.
Yeah,
yes. But that's also true, for
true,
sure.
True, right. So let me translate a little bit. 咁頭先咧就Patrick 就介紹啦，其實咧佢嗰個黃金嘅公司咧就係 trading 即係買賣啦，咁啊係佢老婆嘅，其實佢話佢自己打工嘅啫，咁啊講笑啦咁。Okay, so we want to know that when you, as the expert and CEO of this gold company, and gold is like so hot right now, when you walk into a room of investors, what do they ask you? Like, how much gold do you have left? Is it all sold out? And how do you, what's your take on gold right now?
Well, the one question that everybody asks me is the one question I actually cannot answer. And the one question everybody asks me is, where's the gold price going to be tomorrow?
Right.
And I always say, if I knew where the gold price was to be tomorrow, I wouldn't be working. I would just be taking financial positions on my prediction of the gold price.
Right.
So all I can say is, over time, gold will appreciate, right? Whether it's up or down tomorrow is up to the short-term markets, but over medium to long term, it will always go up, and it will always conserve wealth, and it will be a capital preservation mechanism. Right. But to your other questions, is there a supply shortage of gold? No, there isn't.
Okay.
There's the supply chain in gold is working like clockwork. We personally have trading arrangements with some of the largest refineries in the world, one of which is here in Hong Kong. Two of them are based in Switzerland, another one in Australia, and a couple of them in Turkey. So we really source from around the world, depending on what products our customers want.
Okay.
We have two streams of customers, business customers, which are like bullion shops, and individuals. Chow Tai Fook used to buy a lot of gold from us before COVID. Since COVID, not anymore.
Right.
But jewelry chains, bullion stores, companies making customized products for annual dinners and anniversaries, things like that.
Right.
And then, of course, we have private individuals, some buying small, little bars, 1 gram bars, 5 gram bars, whatever they can afford, up to, very rich individuals buying, I think our largest customer bought 120 kilos of gold,
God.
So that's a very significant amount.
I know.
Obviously we don't have that every day.
Right.
I wish we did, but we don't.
Okay. Well, so actually, sorry, I have to translate a little bit.
Yes.
咁其實佢就講咧，即係好多時去到唔同嘅場合啦，啲朋友都會問佢啦，哇！而家黃金升成咁喎，咁聽日咩價錢啊？咁又或者喂，你哋咪賣晒啦，仲有冇得買啊？咁佢就講咧，其實就仲有貨嘅，因為佢哋咧就係即係唔係做飾金啊，唔係好似周大福咁噶嘛，而主要咧就有兩種唔同嘅客戶啦，一啲就係做即係生意㗎啦，一啲就個別嘅客戶啦咁樣樣。咁即係簡單啲講咧，就佢哋自己係全球去 source 啲黃金啦，同埋有做提煉啦，咁佢有做一啲唔同嘅，譬如話係做一啲嗰啲金粒啊，或者係金條啊咁樣樣啦。咁客戶咧，如果係 commercial 嘅，即係譬如係做生意周大福啊嗰類啦，又或者係一啲有錢嘅，或者我哋中意你買1-2條金條 anytime 咁樣樣。So 價錢，佢話喂，如果我知道聽日個價係咩嘅，當然啊，我就唔使打工啦，係咪先 ？So I wonder, so because you said that like big retailers like 周大福 would come to you, so is it a better price that you have like than if we go directly to buy from the bank or from a retailer? Is it better?
Right. So as a let's say an individual customer in Hong Kong, where can you buy gold? Right. There's basically 4 places you can buy gold. You can either go to a jewelry store like Chow Tai Fook, like Chow Sang Sang, Luk Fok, and a whole bunch of other ones. You can go to a bank.
Okay.
You can go to a bullion store.
Okay.
Like let's say LPM or Gold City Gold Bar.
Okay.
Something like that. Or Emporio, or in Macau, Royal X Silver. Or you can come to somebody like us. We're a bullion trader / broker. Okay? There are advantages and disadvantages to every single one of those sources.
Okay.
Right? If you go to the jeweler, it's very convenient because they're everywhere.
Right.
But they're also the priciest.
Oh, true.
So they're the
true,
most
yeah.
expensive. But it will be very nicely packaged, and it comes in a nice box. And, the staff will look after you. But it will be the most expensive place to buy gold. The bank, usually not every bank sells gold. Some sell coins, but they limit you in terms of how much you can buy, and sometimes they only sell to you if you are a customer.
True.
And they don't always buy back. So
they don't?
well, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Okay.
It's not guaranteed that they'll buy back. You can go to a bullion store. They are very well, or they're very focused on coins. Okay, so if you're looking for a wide variety of coins, go to a bullion store, and you can go in and you can look at all the different types, and then you can pick one out and you can walk home, and that's it. Now, if you want the most reasonable prices and want a bit more personal customer care, you basically have to come to somebody like us. But it's not as convenient because our facility is in Hong Kong. So it's not on Queens Road Central.
Yeah, I know
it's,
what you mean.
So it's a bit more cumbersome to come to somebody like me.
Right.
But you get a much better price because, of course, I'm not paying Queens Road Central prices rent, and I don't have 50 people in staff, and I don't have the high insurance costs that these jewelry stores have, right?
Okay.
So that's basically the explanation for the different pricing.
Okay, let me explain a little bit. 咁佢就話其實如果你想買黃金咧，主要咧就係講緊喺譬如首飾店啊、周大福啊、六福嗰啲啦。咁如果喺銀行咧都有嘅，不過銀行咧好多時又唔係真係可以買到好多啦，同埋有時可能買金粒啊、金條啊嗰啲咁樣樣啦。但係你買入啊容易賣出咧，就未必係即係你賣翻俾佢咧，佢又唔係一定收翻你。咁首飾店就梗係即係價錢就貴好多啦，咁啊但係即係 packing 各方面靚啲啦。咁如果你價錢好啲嘅咧，直頭去揾佢哋呢啲做 dealer 嘅咧，佢就自己係 trading， 即係自己 trader， 咁佢自己翻嚟嘅價錢就會好啲啦。咁當然唔係周圍你街上面都揾到啦，但係我哋可以稍後咧，即係俾一個網站啦聯絡你啦。咁假如你真係咧想買黃金投資咧，咁呢啲地方咧一定嘅價錢係最好㗎啦嚇。I told them already, like we will give them your website later.
Yes, please.
And then you can actually just type in and if they want good price instead of good service, or in addition to good service, they should make that a little bit of travel to your office. I think that
Please, the easiest is email us, make an appointment, come by, and we'll look after you.
Well, actually, you know what? Why don't you type it in now in case we forget? You can type, and it would. Wait.
Does it? Okay. There we go. There we go.
Awesome. 咁I just have to translate. 咁頭先講咗啦，如果大家真係想投資黃金嘅，記住分散風險啊，唔好淨係買一樣嘢啦，都要買下房地產啊、買股票啊、跟下策略王炒嘢啦咁。但係如果真係要價錢好咧，咁你可以去翻去網站參考下。咁啊，我覺得新年啊叫送大禮俾大家啦咁。Okay, so we want to know because it has been going up for so long that gold rush, and I have been studying the chart in the past, the 25 years chart and. And I just don't know, how do you look at the next, let's say, 1-2 years from now? Is it still a good time to buy, or is it going to be like a crisis, or what's your take?
Well, it really depends on what your goal is, okay? If You are an investor who wants to take advantage of price volatility in order to make short-term profits. You really shouldn't be buying physical gold or silver because it's much too slow moving.
Oh.
You should be dealing, or you should be buying with electronic products like ETFs or gold accounts and silver accounts with a bank, right? Because that you on your phone or on your computer, you see the price goes up, you can sell straight away and lock in those profits, right? So if that is your goal, that's the way you have to go. If you want long-term capital preservation, that's when you're buying the physical gold bar and the physical silver bar. You buy it, you put it in your safety deposit box, and you leave it there with at least a 10 to 15 year view. So what I always say is, if you come to us and you're buying a kilo of gold, you basically are buying that for your children or your grandchildren, okay? So in 20 years, 25 years, it's definitely going to be up.
Okay.
Now, coming to your question though, what's the next year or two going to be like in terms of price? I think the price is going to remain volatile over the next 8 to 9 months at least. And I'll tell you why. The main reason the gold price has risen so much over the past year in particular is really because of the uncertainty generated by the United States of America. And the uncertainty around the United States dollar remaining the international accepted reserve currency, okay? So if people are less trusting the United States dollar, where do they go? They can go into maybe the Swiss franc or the Japanese yen, but traditionally if you go out of the dollar, you go into gold. And that's been a big driver of the gold price over the past year. And you know, the person sitting in the White House is not going to change in the next 3 years. And we have to wait until November, until the midterm elections, to see how they go, how it goes, right? And it could be that we have another 3 years of volatility, or we could enter a little bit more stable phase after the midterms. We'll have to see what comes, but definitely in the next few months, I think it's going to remain volatile.
So 咁啊，頭先 Patrick 咧就講其實咧未來啊，我就問佢去到2027啦，咁佢就話未來 at least until 11月啦，咁啊都仲有8個月到啦，咁啊個金價都仲會好浮動啊，因為點解咧？如果你係長線投資者，佢就講緊即係10年至15年咧，你而家買咗就等個細路仔大咗咧攞嚟讀大學啦，咁樣啲錢咧就一定升㗎啦咁。但係如果你係想賺快錢嘅 trade 嘅話咧，你就買 ETF 啦，咁喺手機度好多 app 都可以 trade 㗎啦，而家嚇，咁啊或者銀行 app 啊咩都好啦，咁你就隨時見到咩價錢價位啱，你就可以 trade 即刻套現即刻賺錢嚇。咁啊，但係如果你講到話即係個升幅咧，其實即係過去呢一年咧，尤其是好多都係因為個而家好動盪啦，咁啊黃金咪避險啦，同埋因為美元咧，亦都係即係你知美國而家咁動盪嘅時候啦嚇，你都唔知個 currency 有幾穩陣，咁所以好多人拍咗喺黃金嘅。咁啊 anyways 呢個咧就我哋睇長遠啲啦。We got a few friends here.
Yes.
Mr. Boom Boom 1760 and they want to say hi to you
Hello.
and me. Yeah. And if you have questions about gold, this is an expert. Please leave us a message. 咁如果你對於黃金啊有啲咩問題咧，可以問阿 Patrick 㗎，咁佢係專家嚟㗎嚇，可以留言俾我哋嘅。Okay, so well, this is really interesting. I have just told you it is my view to call it the universal passport because if you are moving from Hong Kong to Dublin or Dubai to New York and you're dealing with the banks, you know how complicated it is. I mean, I have a lot of clients like that. My God, you know, the KYC in the bank right now, it's just driving me nuts. And then like, you know, delays and stuff. So would it be smart to actually, instead of like store, like, you know, putting a lot of money in the bank or investing through the bank, would it be smart just put it in gold so that if we have to move anywhere, we just pack it in a suitcase and bring with us?
It can help. Now, again, I don't suggest that you put all your money into gold. I think that would be a bit courageous. But that being said, of course, you know, a kilobar of gold is the size of a modern mobile phone, right? So it is, and a kilobar of gold currently is around nearly $170,000 US, right?
Right.
So in order to transport that amount of cash, First of all, it would be a problem getting that amount of cash out of a bank because, they don't like handing out large volumes of cash.
Right.
And then once you have that cash, it's kind of difficult to get it back into a bank
as
well.
Oh my God, it's so hard to deposit.
Very, very difficult, know. So, the banking system as such is actually quite fragile as well. What a lot of people don't realize is, and I strongly suggest looking up these numbers. Please, just Google how many banks have gone bankrupt globally over the past 10 years. You'll be astonished how many banks have actually filed for bankruptcy over the past 10 years.
Really?
It's not a few, it's a few hundred.
A few hundred?
And
not in
Hong
Hong Kong?
Kong, admittedly, that's true. The majority of them are actually in the United States of America. But there are also some in Europe and there's some in Asia. So, because people tend to think banks cannot go bankrupt. Banks can go bankrupt. And if they do go bankrupt, your bank account balance is only insured to a certain amount. Here in Hong Kong, you have the FDIC. In America, you've got the FDIC. Here you've got a depository insurance as well. But there are limits of that. So if you've got 5 million Hong Kong dollars in the bank account and that bank goes bankrupt, you're not going to get 5 million back. You might get $500,000, you might get $1 million.
800,000.
Something like that. I don't know the exact figure, but so that's worth bearing in mind. Now, gold is, like you mentioned, and I like that word, it is a global passport because if you take a gold bar here from Hong Kong, you're able to sell it in Zurich. If you buy gold in Australia, you'll be able to sell it here in Hong Kong. Gold is truly international. Anywhere you go, you can convert it. And that's exactly this insurance aspect of gold. It is independent of a government. It is independent of a central bank. It is independent of a bank. It's independent of me. Yes, I trade it at the moment, but if I'm dead and gone, my company doesn't exist anymore.
Not for another 100 years.
Hopefully not, but even if, it does. Our grandchildren, if they inherit that gold, they can bring it to a jeweler. He'll buy it. They can bring it to a trader, and she'll buy it. It is independent of any individual or any institution or even any country. The only thing that counts is the purity, and most modern bars are either 999 or 49, as they call it, 99.99% pure. So it is a global asset that is highly mobile. You can't pack in your house and take it to London if you're moving to London. You have to sell it, and that is a process that takes.
It's hard.
Half a year if you're lucky, 2 years if you're unlucky. Exactly. The market can be against you. Gold, you can just put it in your handbag and get in a plane and fly to wherever you go. You might have to register it when you're crossing the border, but that's just a form-filling exercise. People get afraid when they hear registration. You don't need to be afraid of it. What helps is if you've got the original invoice that you bought it from us or from Chow Sang Sang or from Chow Dai Fook, right? But it quite literally is just a form to fill out that you're bringing it across an international border. You don't have to register it leaving Hong Kong, but usually when you arrive in, let's say, the United Kingdom or America, you're supposed to register it.
So 我頭先就問佢啦，咁啊而家咁動盪各樣嘢啦，咁如果真係要移民啊，要真係叫做走佬嘅時候咧，咁其實黃金先至係咪最 international、最 universal 啊環球嘅 passport 咧？咁因為你有本 passport 啫，咁你冇錢，你去邊都冇用啦，係咪先？咁你而家知道銀行幾煩啦，你攞好多錢出嚟又難，你擺好多錢入去又難。咁尤其是我哋有成日要幫啲客做即係 application 嗰啲啦，而家 KYC 咧煩得好緊要噶嘛。咁啊 might as well 其實係咪買黃金好啲咧？咁佢頭先就解釋咗好長，就係話其實黃金咧就好 liquid 嘅，你由香港去 Dublin 即係愛爾蘭愛爾蘭。或者你喺由呢一個LA 去呢一個London 嘅話咧，咁其實咧你搭程飛機咧，你隨手一個 suitcase 一個行李箱咧，你就可以擺一堆黃金入去㗎啦。咁有啲地方咧，你入境之前要登記，但係你都係填張表格嘅啫。咁咧就好過你咧，就譬如你啲錢擺晒層樓度，你要賣而家都唔係咁易賣啦。咁啊或者啲錢擺銀行都有機會咧係執笠㗎嘛。咁所以我哋都係 diversify 咧，分散咗個風險咧。其實黃金咧今時今日咧，你都 真係可以話係一個 universal passport 嚟㗎嚇。This is very interesting point, and so this is the portability power of gold, isn't
Yes.
it? And this is something interesting that I was Googling online. How, let's say we need to go and run to another country and we're going to put it in suitcase, right? Let's say those that we can carry, that the hand carry, like in any planes. How many gold bars or how much can we fit in?
Oh, you'd run out of, like I said, a kilo bar is about the size of an iPhone.
Right.
So, I mean, your hand luggage, you're usually allowed 7 to 10 kilos per person.
Yeah.
So you can, let's say, take 10 of these. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of space, 10 little iPhones.
Yeah.
And you've got 1.6 million US dollars, right?
Oh, wow.
Right?
So
Because 1 kilo is 170,000 US dollars, right?
Right.
At today's pricing.
Yeah.
So if you've got 10 of them in your hand luggage, you're transporting 1.7 million US dollars in your hand luggage. You can do that.
So if I carry 2 suitcases, I think you can only carry one, right, on the plane?
Correct, yeah. But as a couple, if you're going husband and
yeah,
wife,
husband and wife, right.
20
so,
kilos is
how much is
3.2, 3.4 million US dollars.
Wow, that's like a new life anywhere.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, actually.
And even for smaller amounts, you know,
Right.
a 100-gram bar is not even the size of a cigarette box, you know.
Oh, wow.
It
So
is
small.
really small, but it's 17,000 US dollars that you're carrying in your pocket. You can put it in your jeans
like a pack
pocket.
of cigarettes.
Yeah, even
size.
smaller.
That would be 600,000?
No,
16,
16,000. It's 100 gram bars. Yeah.
Okay, so 16,000 Hong Kong dollars. I mean,
US
US dollars.
dollars.
It's like 100,000 Hong Kong dollars.
Yeah, 130 something
Right.
like that.
咁頭先佢就講啦，我話其實黃金因為可以佢有個 portability 嘅 power，即係可以隨時你就擺喺個衫袋啊，咁化妝袋都得㗎，咁就方便啦。咁其實咧走難啊或者走佬嘅時候啱用啦。咁我就計一計，佢話其實如果你一個相機嘅行李咧，其實咧都已經擺到即係計翻個重量啦嚇。因為咧一個 kg 嘅 size 就同一個手提電話差唔多大啦，咁其實咧你就可以一個人或者兩個人咧就有300幾萬美金，即係2000幾萬港紙嘅黃金嘅價值咧拎上機㗎啦，即係話咧你隨時咧可以去第二個地方咧就過一個新嘅生活㗎啦嚇，咁我覺得呢樣嘢咧都係值得大家留意啊，尤其是而家咧好多嘢咧就真係好動盪啊，即係即係你真係唔知聽日會係點啊，唔好話去到下一年啊咁樣樣嚇。That's very good to know. And we have spoken about gold for so long, and why don't we spend a little bit of time to talk about gold's wild younger brother silver? And you know we were talking a little bit, and you said the silver has been going fast, and I've done a lot of research about it, and it's like actually it's a spiky movement right now.
Yeah.
So what is your view on that?
Well, I mean, silver is a little bit different to gold in that gold usage is very much limited to investment in jewelry. Right? Whereas silver has actually a large proportion of its usage in industrial products, meaning washing machines, microwaves, mobile phones, air filters, all these nanoparticle filters. They're usually with silver additives. Solar panels, all that sort of stuff. A lot of the green tech involves silver as well. So obviously, there's that demand besides the jewelry, the silver jewelry.
The industrial.
And exactly the industrial demand beside the jewelry demand. Now, also a difference is central banks generally don't buy silver. Right? Central banks buy gold.
Yeah, right.
Right? So the People's Bank of China, the New York Fed, they have gold in their vaults. They don't buy silver. So, but what's happened over the past 6 to 9 months is that silver has gone, like you say, completely wild.
Yeah.
We started off, I don't know, a year and a bit ago at somewhere between $20 and $30 an ounce. And it started a bit slow, and it started creeping up and up and up. And it was basically today it's around 90.
Right.
And at the high was 120.
Oh my God.
Like 2-3 weeks ago, it was $120 an ounce.
So volatile.
So in terms of percentage gains, you can actually make more money in silver
than gold.
than in gold.
Okay.
But the problem is you have to buy in bulk.
Okay.
Right? With gold, you know, most people just buy a kilo or a few hundred grams, right? When you're buying silver, you really have to buy a few kilos that it makes sense, right?
Oh.
And not these ounce coins. These ounce coins are great gifts, but the premiums on those ounce coins, they're so expensive that, you know, it's really not that great an investment.
I remember I actually get gold coins for my birthday.
Well, there
small
you go.
Ones, small ones.
They'll be very valuable these days.
Today,
Keep them. They'll keep going up in price. Unless you really need it, keep them. But coming back to silver, the issue right now is there is a bit of a production backlog. So especially here in Hong Kong and in Singapore, there is a waiting list for silver delivery. So, and that's what's causing some of these queues outside of jewelry stores, because people are getting like, oh, I don't want to miss the bus. I don't want to miss the bus. I want to buy whatever is available.
Right.
Do be careful. There is no shortage of silver. There's plenty of silver out there. It is just that the factories that are producing these bars have a production backlog. So it'll take, you know, 4 or 5 weeks for these products to come to the showroom and then sell out again, and it'll probably take another 3 or 4 months until the supply chain stabilizes a bit. But it is a good investment, but please don't go in head over heels and don't lose all rationale. You know, better come to somebody like us, make an appointment, talk about what your aims are, get a tailored solution for you, and if silver is part of that solution, happy to work something out and figure something out with you, rather than, you know, running around Sheung or Central and just queuing outside of you know, all sorts of jewelry shops and then paying double the price of silver just because it's packaged nicely.
Right. So 咁我就翻譯一下啦。咁其實佢就因為頭先我哋講咗好多黃金嘅嘢啦。咁其實近期咧銀咧都係真係非常之爆啊，升得好爆。咁啊，我記得好似早3、5、7年啦，都係做緊30蚊度啦。咁啊，而家咧近期咧做過120啊，最近又落翻去90蚊度啦。咁其實如果你講賺錢啊，尤其是你 trade 嘅話咧，即係你自己炒嘅話咧。So they can actually trade in an ETF as well, right, for silver.
Silver, you can also. There is an ETF.
Right. 咁其實你即係 trade silver 嘅，即係銀嘅 ETF 咧，你就真係仲賺得錢多，同埋快過買金嘅。咁但係如果你真係買首飾嘅話咧，其實咧你亦都可以咧喺周大福啊嗰啲各方面啊，或者銀行都會買到。但係如果你真係要好嘅價錢咧，我都建議啦，或者你真係想做一個投資嘅策略咧，咁我都建議你咧就可以揾翻Patrick 啦。咁佢哋公司咧就係金銀嘅專家嚟嘅，咁同埋價錢一定係最好㗎啦。咁again 我哋又係送大禮啊，咁俾大家咧去一個更加優惠嘅價錢，可以買到更加好嘅質量啊等等嘅嚇。Okay, this is really interesting and because you mentioned that you know about certificate and stuff, and I want to know, we are at a you know like now, like so many scams every day, and then I've got messages, you know, on my phone, on my not so much IG, on Facebook and on my WhatsApp about gold, they sell silver, Bitcoin, everything. So how do we know that, like, I know if I go to Joe Dai Folk or if I go to like you know, like the bank, it has to be real because they are banks, right? But like if I go to you or any other like traders or manufacturers, how do we know that they're not scams?
No, that's absolutely a great question. So first of all, there are some red flags for anybody claiming to be selling gold or silver or anything really that you have to be aware of. And they're so obvious, but I think it's still worthwhile pointing out and just reminding people of it. If something is too good to be true, run the other way, okay? If somebody claims they have access to gold from Africa or from Russia or from God knows where and can sell it at 10% discount, 20% discount, forget it. There's nobody in the world selling gold at 10, 20% discount.
Right.
It just doesn't exist. Why would they? They don't have to. Right? They can come to somebody like me and they will get market price, right? So nobody is going to sell a product like gold or silver where there is a transparent market price that everybody can look up on their phone at a discount, at a significant discount. If it's like 1 or 2%, that's a different matter, right? That's normal market conditions. But 10, 20%, forget it, right? If people are coming up with convoluted transactions, complicated transactions, that they need a bank guarantee, that they need a MT103 or God knows what for a bank form, forget it. SBLC is another preferred one that comes across my desk again and again, which is basically a letter of credit. Forget about all that. Physical gold is a cash and carry product. It's like you going to Chow Tai Fook. You walk in the door, you pay them, you take the gold and you leave. It's the same with me. It's the same with every big refinery. I order, I pay them, they deliver. But that's as easy as it gets. There's no bank guarantees, there's no letters of credit or anything like that.
But I was, like doing this research and stuff, and they said there's a certificate or whatever
that
can back it up.
So that's the processes, red flag processes. Then when it comes to the product, okay, a gold product has a hallmark, has a stamp on it, right? And that stamp is of the producer. And that stamp basically makes the gold either London Bullion Market Association, LBMA, good delivery list, or it's just a stamp of a producer if he's not LBMA.
I saw that on Taobao. They actually sell.
Yes, and that's where it gets
$10.
tricky. That's where it gets tricky, because when people say fake, there are lots and lots and lots of fakes in the market. The very obvious fakes are where there's just something colored gold. Most people will pick up on it. They, if you weigh it, it won't be exactly 100 grams. If you rub it, the color will stick to your fingers, right? If the color will look a bit weird because it's not real gold that they use to layer, or it might be just gold plated, So those are things to look for. Ultimately, though, you're right. You have to go to somebody that is trusted. So you can go to a bank. You can go to a jewelry outfit, or, like I said, you can come to somebody like us. We are registered with Hong Kong Customs. There's an official database on Hong Kong Customs. Every trade that carries on trading of precious metals and precious stones has to be registered with Hong Kong Customs. So that is your first due diligence point. If you're talking to a company like us, go on Hong Kong Customs website, check our name, it will show our address, it will show our email, it will show our license number, all that sort of stuff. And we have to display that in our office as well, right? So that is your first layer of protection. Your second layer of protection, because it's a question that comes up again and again. How do I know it's real gold when you buy from us? Well, we have the test gun in our office. So if people want to test it, they can test it. We've got all sorts of testing equipment, magnet testing, water testing, the XRF scanner. We have it all. But if you're still not satisfied, if you buy from us, you can actually go to the producer and pick it up there directly. You don't have to take it from me. Right? So you place the order with us, and you go to the producer, to the factory itself, and pick it up from them. Right? So I don't even touch it. I don't want to touch it. Right? We can even organize a truck with armed guards to bring it to your home. Right? And you get it directly from the factory. Right? So, unless you're saying somebody built a factory, you can take it to the nth degree, right?
Of course.
But for us, actually, the preferred mode is for our customers to go and pick it up themselves.
Of course.
Because I don't want to handle it. It's an insurance risk. I could lose it, right? All that sort of stuff. I have to insure it while it's on the premises. all that sort of stuff. So
Okay.
for us, it's actually much easier. The customer picks it up directly.
OK，let me stress a little bit。咁其實咧就頭先我就提咗一點啦，因為實在好多假嘢咁啊，市場上你都知啦嚇。咁我都講到話，喂喺淘寶都買到黃金嘅喎，我點知究竟喺銀行同埋喺金鋪買你就知係真㗎啦，因為銀行同金鋪你都信啦。咁但係譬如去一啲代理或者一啲去生產商嗰度，咁好似佢哋咁做 broker 嘅，你點知係真嘅咧？咁佢哋其實咧就喺呢個海關度咧係掛咗牌，即係有牌照啦，亦都登記咗咯。每一個 transaction 咧買賣咧其實都有記錄嘅，咁所以咧你可以絕對相信係真嘅。咁同埋佢都有講，如果你真係都好擔心嘅話咧，其實佢哋雖然價錢好，佢亦都唔介意咧係幫你安排咧係直接喺嗰個黃金嘅生產嗰個 manufacture 個 factory 即係個廠嗰度咧去直接咧你去直接去提貨啊，咁即係包保係真㗎啦，成間廠做係咪？And actually, there's one point before we wrap up that I want to bring out that you didn't bring out, which is actually, I think, the highest proof of your credibility. That is because you're the president of the Irish Chamber, so that makes you very trustworthy because that is
thank you very much.
Because you're representing a country, so
No, of course.
There's like no worries that you will be selling fake gold.
No, and that's why I always say, again, one point to look out for in scams are people that pressure you into buying, right? And that's the same in the securities business, right? And with us, there's no pressure. We're happy. Most of this business is educational, so that's why we want to make appointments. People come. There's no pressure at all. If you don't want to buy, sleep over it. Go home and sleep over it. Talk to your wife, talk to your husband, talk to your mother, grandma, whatever. There is no pressure whatsoever. You can come, have a grown-up conversation. We'll educate you as to the different products, the different pricing, all that sort of stuff. Google us. Okay? Cool. Again, it is so easy to do your due diligence these days. Look at Hong Kong Customs website. And Google the name of the person that you're dealing with. If you Google my name, you'll see interviews going back 15, 20 years nearly.
Awesome.
Right? On CNBC, on quoted in the South China Morning Post at least once a year. Here in Hong Kong. Exactly. Being here, right? And that's why we do this. Because there are so many scams out there, and those scams give the entire industry a bad name.
I know, it's like
and I hate that. I really hate that. There is enough competition out there. Not everybody is going to buy from me, and that's fine. The market is big enough for other companies as well, and we can't offer all products. There are other companies that are specialized in other products. We're not very good for coins, for example. There are other companies, if you're interested in coins, to go and buy coins, but we're honest, and there's plenty of other honest traders out there, and just do your homework a little bit, and and then you don't fall prey to these scamsters.
咁我就想講啦，咁其實咧，Patrick 咧有一點咧，佢就好謙虛嘅，佢就冇提到咧。點解我話出面咁多人咧，大家買黃金啊、買銀啊、買咩都要小心啊，因為好多騙案、好多騙子咯。咁但係佢咧就係呢個愛爾蘭商會嘅嘅 president 啦，個主席啦。咁所以咧其實就係即係你知代表一個國家，佢哋咧就唔會亂嚟嘅，係咪先？咁同埋頭先佢都提到啦，因為佢公司即係呢啲全部有晒牌照啊，亦都喺呢一個 Hong Kong Customs 海關都有登記啊，各方面啦。最好如果大家想了解多少少咧，因為黃金so hot 真係 very very hot 啦而家，咁所以咧個我啲朋友都成日問我買唔買好啊，咩價錢入咩價錢出啊咁，所以我今日就請佢上嚟咧講下啦。咁大家亦都可以喺佢個 website 度咧個網站度咧就揾到佢哋嘅資料啦，可以上去做少少即係調查啦。咁有興趣可以約時間啦，所以佢哋度咧傾下偈嘅。完全都係冇 pressure。今日咧我就好高興啦，就請到一個專家上嚟同我哋講呢個咁 hot 嘅 topic 啦。咁就即係多謝大家啦。咁就Before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say to our followers?
Well, one last point I do want to make. We are actively working with the government here in order to convince them that it's a good idea to have a gold ETF in our MPF. That every person in Hong Kong can put some of their MPF money into physical gold.
Okay.
Not only in equities and
smart.
bonds,
Yeah,
right?
I only put it into equities.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think, again, long-term investment over 20, 30 years, sometimes 40 years.
I guess I can put 10% there, maybe.
Well, exactly. Even if it's only 100 Hong Kong dollars a month, you can put it into a gold ETF, which is government-run, quality assured, everything here in Hong Kong. And then when you retire, you can decide, do I want my gold bars out or do I want to cash out?
Okay,
right?
Let me just translate it. 咁Patrick 咧最後就講咧，其實佢最近因為佢成日都同政府唔同嘅部門開會啦，咁佢就話提到咧係而家係大力咁即係希望咧可以政府咧就將呢一個gold ETF 或者黃金嘅 ETF 咧擺入去個 MPF 我哋嘅退休基金嗰度啦，咁第日咧可以就即係有晒正常嘅途徑，我哋連 ETF 即係連 MPF 咧都可以買到黃金嘅。咁今日咧就非常之多謝 Patrick 啦，咁亦都多謝大家支持。Thank you very much, Patrick, and very happy to see you again.
Yes.
So 恭喜發財，
恭喜發財
and I'll see you another time.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.